Right then, so Anthony Taylor versus Gabe Silva, Anderson Silva's son, has happened, and Anthony Taylor basically destroyed Gabe Silva in that fight. Yeah, to be fair, Anthony Taylor was pretty dominant, and of course on this card he was meant to fight KSI in a bloody gimmick tag team match. Thank bloody God that didn't happen. But yeah, Anthony Taylor with a good win over a good name in Gabe Silva. Wrecked him basically, to be fair. And, you know, I've never liked watching Anthony Taylor fight, but to be fair, that was actually a decent performance from him. He actually let his hands go for once. And, you know, he wasn't clinching every 5 seconds, which was good to see from him. And that's what happens, you know, he actually has some decent power in his hands, Anthony Taylor, and he can be quite explosive. He can mix up his shots well. And Anthony Taylor was just simply able to overwhelm Gabe Silva for that whole fight, really. Matt just overwhelmed him, just massively overwhelmed him there. Good level changes from Anthony Taylor, to be fair. And, yeah, Gabe Silva had no answers for what Anthony Taylor was giving him. So, fair play to Anthony Taylor. Went in there, did his thing, and, you know, landed some good overhands on Gabe Silva in that fight. But yeah, from Gabe Silva, pretty disappointing from him, to be fair. He's meant to bloody be Anderson Silva's son. What was that? Yeah, I expected a lot better from Silva. I expected him to win. I expected him to go in there and win the fight. I expected him to be more, you know, athletic in there and, you know, good with his movements. But Gabe Silva was pretty stiff at times in there. He was pretty stiff at times in there, to be fair. So it was a pretty underwhelming performance from Gabe Silva. Yes, he, you know, looked all right behind the lead hand at times, Silva, but at the end of the day, he was overwhelmed by, you know, the bigger puncher, and the stronger guy was clearly Anthony Taylor. Taylor was good in those clinches when they were in them at times. He was able to lean on Silva a bit, get him up against the ropes, get some good work in. And yeah, overall, to be fair, it was probably the most high skill fight on the card, to be fair, with it being real. It wasn't amazingly high skill, but, you know, that you know, they are two fighters who have got fighting backgrounds, boxing, MMA. So, you know, at the end of the day, it was the most high skill fight, but it was much more one-sided than I expected it to be, and I expected Silva to do better. I expected him to try and keep Taylor at range better than what he did, and he moved around more than what he did. But Anthony Taylor was able to cut the ring off quite well and get Gabe Silva up against the ropes and get his work in. So, you know, at the end of the day, it was a good performance from Taylor, did exactly what he had to do. And that was just overwhelmed Silva with some good pressure and good power in his punches, which really did get to Gabe Silva. One thing I do want to talk about is the stoppage. Yeah, people are saying it wasn't the right stoppage, but it was a good stoppage from the ref, in my opinion. There was nothing coming back from Silva, and he was just getting completely overwhelmed. And, you know, he was never going to win the fight. Never in a million years going to win the fight at the time it was stopped. It was clear it was going Anthony Taylor's way. It was complete one-way traffic. You know, I've seen a load of people as well moaning about the DAZN commentators saying, oh, they should have gave Silva some more props during that fight. He was doing better than what people think. But at the end of the day, like, no, I think loads of us expected more from Gabe Silva. He wasn't absolutely awful in the fight, but it's like we expected much more from him, to be fair. That I think that's the thing. Like myself, the commentators expecting much more from Gabe Silva. That's why, you know, people aren't giving him a bit of credit for some of the work he did in that fight, because we expected more from him. We expected to see, you know, quicker combinations from him. But Anthony Taylor just didn't really give him time to breathe. But at the end of the day, I keep saying that, don't I? Gabe Silva should have, I think his movement should have been better in that fight. That's the thing. And it wasn't. So it's very disappointing from Gabe Silva. Very disappointing for him. People talk about what's next for Anthony Taylor. I wouldn't mind seeing him up against KSI. I'd want him to beat KSI. Can't stand KSI. I'd like to see him up against Slim possibly as well. That could be a good one for him. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, Anthony Taylor's like one of actually the only real proper fighters with that fighting background in Misfits. So yeah, it's interesting in my opinion. He's an interesting one to keep an eye out for. Now he's actually finally letting his hands go, and he's trying to be more of a, you know, fan-friendly fighter. Because I don't know, I think Misfits might have kicked him off if his style kept on continuing. Like, yes, he is a champion of Misfits, but I think they probably would have kept him off because let's be real. Misfits is all right for that entertainment side of things. As much as I think it's extremely bad for boxing, it's for entertainment. And originally, Anthony Taylor wasn't bringing that entertainment to these casual fans who watch Misfits. That's the thing. I know I'm saying I watch it, but I'm not a casual or anything. I watch any boxing show. That's just me, though. I watch any boxing show. But yeah, just for the normal, casuals who only watch Misfits, Anthony Taylor wasn't really the guy for it. So it's understandable why, they were probably considering to kick him off. And I think before he came into this fight, people probably were. I think he actually had a fight before this, actually. I didn't watch that one, though. But I think he actually had a fight before this one a few weeks ago. And that's where he was letting his hands go more. But, that was against someone that no one knew. A bit of a bum. But here against Gabe Silva, who, has good fighting background and is a tough guy, Anthony Taylor actually let his hands go. And I think someone probably had a word with him saying, you need to do this, otherwise we're going to kick you off. Or it might have been because, he was meant to be fighting KSI. It might have been a new mentality thing for Anthony Taylor. Or, the promise might have been if you want the KSI fight, you need to let your hands go. And Anthony Taylor just decided to bring it into these fights anyway, which is the right thing for him to do. So, yeah, fair play to him. Did exactly what had to be done. So, yeah, anyway. Thanks for watching this video, Chaos, and speak to you on the next one.